Hey, how you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Big Frog's 4x4. Today, we're going to be changing the oil in a 2014 Hyundai Elantra GT. Your hood release lever is right down here by your left foot. You want to pull that. Underneath the hood, you have a lever right here at the dead center of the hood. You push that to the left and then pull up on the hood. And right there is your support. And it goes right in there. Now before you change the oil, you're going to make sure you check the fluid level and make sure your fluid level is good. That way you know if the engine's using any or leaking any oil. Alright, we'll check the oil level. You're going to want the oil to fall somewhere in the middle of these cross hatches. And we are right about there. So we're good. Now I like to just loosen the cap, that way the engine vents better, the oil will run out faster. Now you have a couple of options. You can use car ramps that you can pull up on and drive the tires up on. That gets the car up off the ground. You can use, if you happen to, like I do, have a two-post lift. If you have a two-post lift, you're probably not watching this video. But two-post lift and raise it up. If you're using a jack and jack stands, you can place a jack and jack stands on the pinch weld as far forward as you can get. Once you have it jacked up and jack stands under it, chalk the rear wheels so that the vehicle can't move forward or backward. Underneath the front of the car, right by the oil pan, is where your oil filter is found. I usually do the oil filter first before I drain the oil. That way you're sure that you have the correct filter in case you're changing brands or something, the numbers don't match up. Go to screw on the new filter and find out that the oil filter is not right and you have to go get another one and you already have the oil drained. So I usually do the filter first to make sure I have the correct filter. It's right here at the front. Then your drain plug is right here at the back of the oil pan. Make sure you properly dispose of your used oil. Now there's several different tools you can use for getting these off. They have tools like this that you can put around it. They have filter pliers like this. They have the caps that fit on that you put a ratchet on. Just to take this one off, I'm going to use the pliers. And I just loosen it until it starts to drain out, and then once it's done dripping, or once it gets to a drip, I'll take the filter the rest of the way off. While that's dripping, I'll show you some of these other filter caps. You have one like this that slides over the end of the filter. Fits over the filter like that, and you use the ratchet to get it off. These are also good for tight spaces where you can't get your hand in there to hand tighten them. For removing only, you can use one like this. It expands and grips the side of the filter, and you can remove it with that. Do not use these to install it because they will dent the side of the oil filter and possibly even put a hole in it. Before you install the new filter, look up and there on the filter housing. Make sure there's no old O-ring or anything stuck on there. When installing the new filter, take some of your fresh oil and coat this O-ring with fresh oil. Then you can screw it up on. And I screw it and just till the O-ring stops. As soon as it touches, like you back it off, spin it. As soon as it touches, that's when you start your count of 3/4 to 1 full turn. So you either can mark the filter somewhere and then watch that line go around up to 1 full turn, or you can look at the markings on the side of the filter and make sure that it's not going more than 1 full turn. Usually 3/4 of a turn. And there you go. Then you come over here to the drain plug. It's a 17 millimeter. Once you get the drain plug all the way out, and you're draining, clean this up and look at that O-ring and make sure that it's not deformed or any issues with it. These are usually pretty reusable quite a few times before you'd have to replace them. While your oil drains, go over everything else that you can see underneath your vehicle. Make sure that your brakes look good, tires, suspension, look for any leaks or worn parts. Go over as much as you possibly can, and if anything looks out of place or you're concerned, call and schedule an appointment with a mechanic. Once you got that down to a drip, put your drain plug back in. Oh, and don't drop your wrench into the oil. Wonderful. Well, that wrench is well lubricated. Once again, like I said, it's a 17 millimeter. Now it's a well lubricated 17 millimeter. So I usually go and just till she's a snug, and then it's a little pull past that. Now, if you want, you can get a torque wrench and look the torque spec up online. Keep in mind that the drain plug on a car is the most removed bolt of any vehicle, any bolt on the vehicle. Eventually, it can wear out, and that seal that goes around it does wear out, and you will have to replace it. Now, this is the Hyundai 2.0 GDI engine, and it holds 4.2 quarts of oil. It's quite simple. Just take your cap off. Get your your funnel, put it in there, and fill the oil. 4.2 quarts. Now, before I pour into the oil, I like to measure down to, that'd be 4 quarts from here down. That's about 4.5 quarts. So I'm going to be somewhere in around that Q area for the 4.2 quarts. I found my bigger funnel. So we'll go ahead and pour it in. All right, I am right at the bottom of the liter's quarts mark here on the jug. So we should be around that 4.2 quarts. I'll put the cap on, we'll start the engine up, and we'll check our oil level. By the way, anytime in any vehicle I remove the oil fill cap, I lay it at the hood latch. That way there's no way you forget to put it back on because the hood won't close if it's sitting here by the hood latch. Now before you lower the vehicle to the ground, after you start it up, make sure there's no oil leaks underneath. Then you can let it down on the ground. Check your oil level to the engine, make sure it's full, and then make sure your oil fill cap is on and you're good to go. Now's also a good time to make sure you check your air pressure in your tires and make sure all your air pressure in your tires are good. This calls for 32. I usually set them about 34 this time of year because in the wintertime in Pennsylvania, hot, cold of driving, they lose air. So usually within a couple of months, you'll be down a pound or two. So I set them at 34, so those should be good to go. Thanks for watching Big Frog's 4x4. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell if you want notified each video as it comes out. And as always, God bless.